Picture this, will ya? You're walking through the tall, dry grass, maybe 100,000 years ago. The sun is just starting to dip below the horizon, casting these long, deceiving shadows all around you. And then you hear a rustle right behind you. You turn around, and staring back at you are two yellow eyes, reflecting the absolute last dying bit of daylight. It's a cave lion. But listen to me, not like the ones you see sleeping in a zoo today. No, this thing is twice the size of an African lion, 700 pounds of pure coiled muscle, razor claws, and teeth built exclusively for tearing. And it is looking directly at you. You got no gun, you got no knife, hell, you don't even have a sharp stick in your hand.
Look at yourself. Seriously, how are you still here? Your teeth are completely flat, your fingernails utterly useless in a real fight. You can't outrun this beast, you sure as hell can't outclimb it, and you absolutely cannot fight it. In a world where our soft, fragile, weaponless bodies were sitting right at the bottom of the menu, how did your ancestors survive? Well, in this explainer today, we're going to look at exactly how we cheated the Reaper.
All right, let's kick things off with a pretty hard truth. Back in 1924, Raymond Dart dug up a skull in South Africa that changed our entire understanding of who we were. It belonged to an early human ancestor, just a little kid, maybe 3 years old. And if you look closely at the eye sockets, you'll see two holes. They aren't random. They are perfectly spaced to match the exact distance between the canine teeth of a leopard. This little one wasn't the victim of some tragic tripping accident. This child was prey. For millions of years, my friends, we were not the hunters, we were the hunted.
Section 1. Earth's Apex Killers, the Monsters in the Dark.
You see, the predators we shared this world with weren't just dangerous. They had spent millions of years evolving perfectly designed, highly specialized ways to slaughter large mammals. We were wandering into a war zone where the enemy was already armed to the teeth. Take the Smiladon fatalis, the saber-toothed cat, 600 pounds of muscle built like an absolute tank. It packed 11-inch canines designed for one single purpose, to puncture the sick throats of bison and camels. It didn't bother chasing you. It just waited in that tall grass or down by the watering hole, and it exploded out at 30 miles an hour. One bite to the neck, before you even drew a breath to scream, and you were done. 12 feet. Just let that number sink into your bones for a second. That is the height of the short-faced bear when it reared up on its hind legs. It was the largest mammalian land predator in North America, weighing in at a massive 2,000 pounds. And unlike the bears you know today to eat berries and fish, this giant was a hyper-carnivore. It ate meat. Only meat. And the worst part, it could run 40 miles an hour on those long, endurance-built legs. I tell you, if a 2,000-pound hyper-carnivore saw you out on the open plains, you were already dead. We were completely, hopelessly outmatched. You know, a human bites down with about 162 pounds per square inch of force. The cave hyena, 1,100 pounds per square inch. They were larger and far stronger than modern hyenas, capable of effortlessly crushing human bones just to lick the marrow inside. And they hunted at night, in packs of 20 or more, relentless and coordinated, right when our ancestors could barely see their own hands in front of their faces. Everywhere we went, man, from packs of 30 direwolves to 10-foot-tall terror birds down in South America whose beaks could literally shatter a skull, something was trying to eat us. We were 3 times weaker than a chimpanzee, and chimps who have fangs and can scramble 30 feet up a tree in seconds, they still get killed by leopards all the time. We had poor night vision, mediocre hearing, our upright posture made us stick out like a sore thumb on the horizon, and we carried around screaming babies that couldn't even walk for a whole year. By every single biological measure of the natural world, we should be extinct, but we're not. They are. Section 2. Mastering the elements. Fighting back the night. So how did we flip the script? Well, we found our first weapon, and it wasn't made of stone. It was fire. Down in Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, we found the million-year-old ash, the burned bones, the ancient hearths. Controlled fire changed absolutely everything. A campfire creates a 30-foot safety zone. Predators are instinctually hardwired to avoid it. Even today, out in the bush, lions will not cross that line of light. Fire gave our hairless bodies warmth, sure, but more than that, it gave us a glowing shield against the terrors of the dark. Think about it. Before fire, when the sun went down, you hid, and you stayed completely still, terrified until dawn. With fire, you just bought yourself 3 or 4 extra hours of life every single night. Time to talk, time to craft tools, time to plan. But the real magic was in the embers themselves. Fire let us cook meat, making it way easier to digest and unlocking massive amounts of calories. We used those extra cooked calories to fuel the growth of bigger brains. And bigger brains? That meant better problem solving. Section 3. The Mind and the Hunt. Discovering our strengths. We realized pretty quick we couldn't hide forever. We had to discover what we were actually good at, shifting from prey to something entirely new.
Now, we are terrible sprinters. A saber-tooth could hit 30 miles an hour in 3 seconds flat. We top out at 28 for just a fleeting moment. But we had a bizarre, grueling physical advantage: persistence hunting. You don't outrun the beast, you just outlast it. You track an animal at a steady, rhythmic jog. You follow it relentlessly for 3, 4, maybe 6 hours. The animal sprints away, it stops, it overheats, it runs again. But it can't sweat like we can. It can't cool down while it's moving. Eventually, it just collapses, completely defeated by its own boiling blood, dying from heat stroke. And you just walk up and finish it. Humans are the only species on Earth that can do this.
With those new fire-fueled brains came ancient pattern recognition. We started seeing the world as a map of raw information. A broken twig meant something heavy just walked there. Disturbed dirt meant something was digging. We memorized the shapes and ages of tracks. And then, we turned that intelligence right back onto the monsters themselves. We learned that saber-tooths hunted near water at dusk. We realized short-faced bears were solitary. We observed, we remembered, and we taught each other, compounding that knowledge generation after generation.
Section 4, empathy, our ultimate weapon, the power of the pack. But I gotta tell ya, all the fire and tracking in the world wouldn't have been enough without empathy. I want you to listen closely here, because this is the most profound piece of our whole story. Over in Germisi, Georgia, archaeologists found a skull nearly 1.8 million years old. This ancestor had lost all their teeth years before they finally died. Now, no teeth means you can't chew raw meat, you can't process rough food, yet they survived for years. Someone else in their group was chewing their food for them. Someone was cooking it soft enough to eat. Later, in Shanidar Cave in Iraq, we found a Neanderthal from 60,000 years ago, blind in one eye, a healed broken arm, severe arthritis. He couldn't hunt, but his group kept him alive until he was 40. No predator in the wild does this. It is a harsh, unforgiving rule of the dirt. A lion with no teeth dies, but a human with no teeth gets taken care of. That deep, profound compassion, that's what actually separated us. We didn't just cooperate out of cold instinct like a pack of wolves. We actually cared for each other.
And that empathy, that bond, well, it led to complex communication, strategy, and eventually the ultimate defense. Around 400,000 years ago, we crafted these Schöningen spears over in Germany. Aerodynamic, perfectly balanced, designed to be thrown from 30 feet away. 5 humans with spears, a shared language, and a coordinated plan could drop a saber-tooth without ever letting its claws touch them. No predator could defend against a ranged attack. We finally stopped running, and we started hunting.
Section 5, becoming the apex. The world shifts. Around 50,000 years ago, our ancestors gathered their spears, their fire, and their families, and they marched right out of Africa. The aftermath was a victory roll call written directly into the fossil record. Everywhere we went, the megafauna, the monsters of the dark, began to fall. Cave lions? Gone 14,000 years ago. Short-faced bears? Erased 11,000 years ago. The saber-tooths? Extinct 10,000 years ago. Within a few thousand years of our arrival on any given continent, the ancient nightmares vanished. We didn't just survive them, we outlasted them. We outthought them. We eliminated them. It was the ultimate evolutionary arms race. Evolution handed every predator a physical trump card: unbelievable speed, crushing strength, venom, camouflage. But to humans, evolution gave adaptability. We couldn't outrun a short-faced bear, so we threw spears from a distance. We couldn't outbite a cave hyena, so we surrounded it with our tribe. We couldn't see in the dark, so we built a fire and we turned night into day. Every time biology gave us a weakness, we invented a solution. And those solutions compounded until we became a force of nature that no predator could ever evolve to fight. For 2 million years, we hid in the trees. We ran from the shadows. We lost our children to leopards and could do absolutely nothing but grieve around the ash of our fires. But we learned, and we passed that survival down to the next generation. Which leaves us with this one thought. We survived the absolute darkest, deadliest crucible this planet had to offer. The blood of those relentless, unstoppable survivors is still flowing in your veins right now. So tell me, what challenge will we adapt to next?